everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm sorry I didn't do my video on Monday. I had a lot of video editing to get done, and I just never got around to doing it. It was for work purposes, so yeah, I'm sorry guys that this video is late. Today we're reacting to Cranky Bugs VHS review, so let's get started.
Season 5 release, the very well-known Cranky Bugs. I am super excited for this one, so let's begin with the release history.
Let's go. This will definitely be interesting.
Cranky Bugs and Other Stories was originally released on VHS on February 2nd, 1999. Coincidentally, this was the same release date as the blockbuster tape, Thomas's Useful Stories. Let's just say that Cranky Bugs had a very interesting lineup when it came to producing these tapes.
Yeah.
All throughout '99, there were multiple sticker labels produced with both the blue and black tapes. These mostly consisted of the Beth and Britt Allcroft labels. You can see how much of a ridiculous amount there are. I really don't know why so many were made for this particular one. My only guess theory is that this had to have been a very popular release if so many copies were made. Granted, some of these labels are pretty uncommon, but take it from me, with the amount there are, if you were to hunt down, let's say, every variant, you would have at the very least 10 plus copies of just Cranky Bugs, which is a bit silly. And this is coming from someone who has an ungodly amount of certain tapes. You'll see what I mean eventually.
Oh no.
As the early 2000s came around, Anchor Bay had re-released Cranky Bugs on July 24th, 2001, the time of the blue and black inks. The blue ink I definitely remember owning when I turned 6 in 01, and it was specifically with the 99 style box.
Yeah.
A year later, on July 23rd, 2002, thick cases of the Cranky Bugs DVD were released, once again, by Anchor Bay. 7 years later, more thick cases were released, but this time by Lionsgate. Of course, Cranky Bugs also had bonus train packs featuring Ertl or wooden railway characters, and also the double DVD packs. These don't come up very often, so if you happen to find one for a decent price, I would grab them.
Yeah.
Alright, so that does it for the release history. Now let's take a look at the episodes.
Thank you.
So Cranky Bugs features 6 season 5 episodes, all narrated by Alec Baldwin. And of course, there's a bonus music video at the end.
He's awesome.
Cranky Bugs, Lady Hat's birthday party.
Ooh, that was a good one.
Double teething troubles.
No.
Thomas, Percy, and Old Slow
Yay!
Coach. Busy going backwards.
No.
And a better view for growth.
Yes!
So we're gonna start things off with our first episode.
My favorite.
Cranky Bugs. A new crane called Cranky complains how Thomas and Percy do their work and continuously refers to them as bugs. Later on in the night, a storm swerves a ship into the sheds, knocks Cranky over, and it's up to Thomas and Percy to help clear the wreckage. For the first episode of season 5, oh my god, is it awesome. I feel like with everything that happens, it really set the bar for what we were to see for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
With that said, Cranky is a very interesting character to kick off this episode. Admittingly, I did not like Cranky when I was younger because the characters to the engines didn't exactly fly with
I prefer the CGI Cranky to this Cranky. Sorry.
me. I do, however, like him just a little bit more now, but I much prefer him in the CGI series. My favorite scene, without a doubt, is when the ship crashes into the shed and the music really helps to amp up the intensity. Again, I have to admit, this was a scene that scared the absolute shit out of me, seeing the engines covered in the shed debris, as well as Alex screaming as Cranky.
That was funny.
Yeah, the wimpy side of Tay shows herself again. No shocker. I do, however, need to point out that I absolutely love the scenery of Brendam Docks. Most of the shots are pretty amazing, as well as the music to really help set the atmosphere. And oh yeah, hi Big Mickey, you're a thing now, I forgot. Like I was saying, this episode was a stellar way to open up the season, as well as the tape, and it is easily one of my favorites. 10 out of 10.
Yeah, okay, that one deserves the 10 out of 10. All right, next one.
War for the
Sorry, guys.
Is just
okay,
10
there
out
we
of
go.
10.
There we go. Sorry, guys.
Our second episode is Lady Hat's birthday party.
Oh, Sir Top Hat
It's
was
Lady Hat's birthday, and Topham has a new outfit
Sir Top Hat came back in a mess in this episode.
for the occasion. But trying to be on time might not be as easy as he thinks.
Nope.
With a flat wheel, Caroline breaking down, and an out-of-control George landing in torso-deep mud. This one is pretty unique. It's the first of the Topham-centered stories, the other being Holiday, which I've already explained is one episode that I really don't care for. But with this one,
I like that one.
I feel the complete opposite. Originally, I didn't care for it too much,
See, I'm the opposite. This one I thought was okay. Holiday I thought was awesome. We're opposites.
but watching it a few more times, it's a pretty fun episode. We get to see Topham have his own adventure while trying to be on time for his wife's birthday party, but everything just seems to not work out in his favor. It kind of seems like it's one of those days when you try to be on time for something and everything plays out against you. Huh, mood. This also, however, does let us see that Topham too is not all perfect, and from time to time, he runs into his own troubles as well. He's not just this tubby guy who runs the railway. Speaking of characters, it's really nice that they gave Caroline another spot, and I gotta say, Alex's voice for her is freaking hilarious.
I'm hot! My engine will overheat! Told you so!
Also,
Told you
can we
so.
all
Like a
acknowledge
Southern
the
accent.
line that George says to Caroline here?
Call yourself a car? You're a disgrace to the road. Find yourself a scrapyard.
You just basically told her to go kill herself. That's one other minor little thing. When did Lady Hat's model suddenly change?
Yeah.
The face just looks slightly off to me, as well as the hair color. Are you sure you're at the right party, Topham? Are you cheating on Lady Hat or something? Anyways, for music, Topham's theme is a pretty catchy ditty. We get to hear George's theme once again, and the little cue of Happy Birthday at the end was a nice touch to cap off the story. If we could get more fun and entertaining stories like this every once in a while, then maybe I'd be a little more interested in Topham. Overall, I say this is a very enjoyable and very fun episode. 9 out of 10. Up next is double teething troubles.
Oh, brother.
With work building up at the quarry, Topham sends a new diesel to help out Bill and Ben. But
Yep.
the new diesel has a continuous problem breaking down due to his teething troubles. So, the mischievous twins are back again with another Spotlight episode.
Of course.
For the most part, it's pretty good. Baldwin's voices for Bill and Ben are oh so hilarious.
That's my line of cars. It's not. It's mine. Yours is over there. It's mine. It's not. It's mine. It's not.
They sort of match Carlin's take on them, but a little more higher pitch. And if you really think about it, Baldwin also makes them sound like a Beavis and Butthead duo, especially when he makes them talk fast.
Why does Percy want to wish us good luck?
I am the great Cornelio.
Shut up, Beavis.
If only he kept these voices for season 6.
Yeah.
Anyways, our newest Diesel character, as merchandise refers to him as Derek, is yet another pointless character. He's here for one episode with just barely any screen time for that matter, and then he's gone.
Yep.
Unless you count an appearance in a particular movie, but we'll discuss that another time. Derek is
What
yet
movie was that?
another that we really don't get to see what he's capable of due to his teething troubles and whether or not they were handled afterwards. He could have had a lot more potential to be a very interesting character had they given him more of a chance to shine.
Yeah.
Also, in reference to pointless characters,
Boko.
this was apparently Boko's last ever appearance in the show. What the hell was the point of bringing him back if he was only going to be on screen for about 30 seconds? Wait, I know. Merchandise! Also, is anyone else confused by
Merchandise!
this line said by the twins?
Boko, whispered Bill. I'm sorry we were rude to you.
What? You never said anything rude to him throughout this entire episode. Overall, I wouldn't say this is a favorite, but I still really enjoy this episode, and it's still a pretty solid way to welcome back our mischievous twins. 8 out of 10.
Back in 2022.
Sorry,
I
guys.
lost two
All right, there we go.
And our next episode is Thomas, Percy, and Old Slow Coach. Thomas and Percy
I love
find an
this
old
one.
coach in a siding and want to try and help her be really useful again. Meanwhile, James has his own troubles when his fuel cars catch fire, as well as a workman's hut. This one was another interesting episode. We first get another new character, Old Slow Coach, who, by the way, looks marvelously beautiful by the ending of this episode. But most of the time, she doesn't really do anything. She's just kind of there until the plot sort of leads into her way. I'd say the main focus is more or less on the fires that happen with James and the workman's hut, which, holy shit, the amount of new stuff we get just in this episode alone is amazing.
Well, yeah.
James's fire theme, as well as the cue from the fire engines, a new Thomas face mask. This episode went all out. But a few little things to mention here. I really don't know if this was intentional on his part, but my God, Alec's voice for James is hysterical. The low, gayish sounding tone in his voice somehow works for James, and it is funny.
Ha! Snorted James. It's the countryside that really gets me fired up. It's the only place to be.
Yeah.
Oh, hell!
Literally.
Cried James.
Second, they never really explain how the fire starts at the hut. It just kind of happens out of nowhere, just for it to lead up into, oh, hey, Old Slow Coach still exists. Yeah, I don't really know how to explain that. And can we all admit that the rush tapes found with deleted shots for this episode are not only incredible, but hilarious as well? I must have watched this one clip 20 plus times, and I still laugh my ass off. Everything aside, I really wish they would have done more with Old Slow Coach. I know she appears in a later story.
Oh, sorry. That was funny.
But after that, she disappears. In my honest opinion, I feel like she could have really worked as a personal coach for Percy. Kind of like how Thomas has Annie and Clarabelle and Toby with Henrietta. Coach and Percy's dynamic is so sweet. I really wish they would have done something with them. Either way, this is a really enjoyable story. One that I could watch over and over again. 9 out of 10. And our next episode is Busy Going Backwards.
Okay, I
Toad
remember
tires
this
of
one
going
now.
backwards and wishes to go forwards for a change. The freight cars grant him his wish when they break away from Oliver, but it soon turns out to be too much for Toad.
Yeah.
Another episode that is so much fun to watch. The amount of energy thrown in this particular story is insane. It's also pretty awesome for Toad to have another spotlight episode since his role in the season 4 episode, Toad Stands By. The overall message that Toad learns by the end is a pretty memorable thing to take note of. That being that it's okay to try new things every now and again, but you must understand the risks of doing whatever, and sometimes it's better to stick with what you're good at. The whole runaway scene with Toad and the cars, all tied in with the William Tell Overture theme, really helps keep you on edge. And again, the deleted shots found on the rush tapes of this episode are pretty amazing. One thing I should also mention is how I adore Baldwin's Toad voice. Compared to Carlin's take on it, which, yeah, I get there's a lot of people who don't like it.
I'm worried, Mr. Douglas. This disrespect for engines. Where's it going to end?
I feel like it's just okay at best, but there's something about this deeper voice Baldwin gives that just oddly works more for Toad. And I'm probably gonna piss off some Angelus fans here, but I don't really care for his take on this particular episode. I don't really get that energy rush I'm looking for compared to how Alec narrates.
Help! Help! Called Toad again. Toad saw some buffers. Those will stop me. But the points to the buffers weren't set. Oh no! I'm back on the main line.
I just personally feel like Baldwin narrated this one a little more better.
Yeah.
Help! Help! Called Toad again.
Yeah, Alec Baldwin did it better.
Toad saw some buffers. Those will stop me. But the points to the buffers weren't set. No! I'm back on the main line.
Yeah, see, he's
Like I
better
said before,
at it.
this story is fun, it's energetic, everything you could ever want in a fast-paced Thomas story. 10 out of 10.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And now our final episode is a better view for
Oh,
Gordon.
yeah.
Gordon is asked to test out a new station, but complains that he, of all engines, should have a panoramic view. He also can't seem to gather enough speed and has to go to the works. A few days later, with the grand opening, Gordon can't stop and crashes right through the station
That's why I
wall.
like it.
Okay, I really don't want to offend anyone, but this is another on the pile of least favorite Gordon stories. I know, I'm about to get slashed.
Oh,
Look,
brother.
even as a kid, I really didn't think this one was that great. I'll admit, though, the crash, being that it was extremely over the top, was pretty cool as it was based on a live event. But if I'm being real, that's why this episode is so godly overrated, because of the crash. And I'm sorry, but a crash alone does not make me like an episode. That just sounds like a very cheap and lazy
I like that music.
response, if I'm
Don't judge
being
me!
honest. With that said,
That's my
why
number
don't
one
I care
favorite
for
Thomas
this
and
one?
Friends song.
Well, duh, because of Gordon.
I'm just saying it again. Accidents Will Happen is my number one favorite Thomas and Friends song, besides the Island song from Thomas and Friends. Those two are my favorites.
Who is, once again, a very needy, arrogant dickhead. I really don't get this whole panoramic view thing. He only feels like he should have one just because he's an important engine. Meanwhile, you see people pretty much on a regular basis, and vice versa. What the do you have to complain about? Also, given the angle of the view, what is he really going to see? The sky? The clouds? The birds? From there, you can't see shit. Do you guys just understand why I hate Gordon as a character? I just don't see
I don't
the
like Gordon that
appeal
much
in
either,
him.
but
He's never happy or satisfied with anything, and as I've said, he's needy, egotistical, and very arrogant. I honestly think he's a bigger dick than James, which I think speaks a lot of volume, don't you think? Now, despite my very strong gripes I have, there were at least a few little aspects that I did like. Most of the visuals were very pretty to look at, and the music is entertaining. But the overall plot and Gordon's character are what really dragged this episode down for me. I know there's a lot of Thomas fans who really enjoy this episode. That's fine. You do you. I'm not gonna bash anybody that does. But personally, it's just not my cup of tea. I want to be fair here, so the highest I can honestly give this episode after all the bashing is a 6.5 out of 10.
I'll take that.
And of course, we can't end off the tape without our bonus music video, Night Train.
No!
I know you guys have heard my thoughts with this song from my classic song ranking
I was hoping
video.
you'd be
so I'm
Accidents
just
Would
gonna keep this
Happen!
really short. This song is so amazingly awesome. The instrumental slaps, the visuals are beautiful. What else can you really say about it? It's pure perfection. Remember, this used to be my favorite song as a kid, until another one took the number one spot, but it still remains at a very tight, close second. Truly a magnificent song. So, what are my final thoughts on Cranky Bugs?
Okay, let's see.
Plain and simple, this tape is amazing. For Alec Baldwin's first season 5 release, I think he does a pretty good job. The line delivery he gives in a lot of these stories is on freaking point. Some of my favorite voices he's done so far are James, Toad, Caroline, Lady Hat, and Bill and Ben. I could listen to him do these voices for hours and I would still laugh my ass off. And you can really tell that Baldwin had a lot of fun narrating these stories. I know there are a ton of people who don't necessarily care for Baldwin and claim he's a bad narrator, but personally, I think he's pretty good in season 5. The enthusiasm and enjoyment is at least there when he narrates the stories. It's just season 6 is where he really downgrades. If you put that all to the side, he's a pretty solid narrator. And in some cases, I kind of prefer him more than I do Angelus for some stories.
Me too.
Other than that, the story selection is pretty solid. The music video is an absolute bop. This is definitely one season 5 release that you must have in your collection. And that does it for this review.
Thank you all for watching, guys. Definitely after this, especially hearing the accidents will happen, I'm gonna have to create a playlist on Spotify of my favorite Thomas and Friends songs, because I'm sorry, Accidents Will Happen is one of my favorite Thomas and Friends songs besides the Island song. The reason I like the Island song is because it just reminds me of the childhood I grew up to. So yeah, anyways guys, thank you for watching. This is Gamer101 signing out. Adios everybody.